Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the co-founder of a boutique firm in Austin that's all about protecting your wealth. You're not going to want to miss this next segment. That's just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, let's be honest, if you had a health condition, you would go to a surgeon, you'd go to a specialist, but there are so many business owners and entrepreneurs in this country who are trying to do it themselves. That's why I brought on Chris Wilbratte from, he's the founder of Echelon Financial, and he is joining us from our Austin bureau. Chris, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me on.
And I think that's a fair statement. And you probably run into entrepreneurs and business owners of all shapes and sizes that are trying to do it on their own, or maybe they have a CPA firm, but the CPA firm's not doing tax strategy for them. Talk a little bit about what makes your firm different.
Sure. So, you made a good point where, they might have a CPA, they have an attorney, they have a corporate attorney, maybe an estate planning attorney, they have a wealth manager. And they're the hub of that wheel, and so all the communications need to go through them, the coordination of projects, and just making sure that everything is being optimized for them. And when they're running their business, spending time with their family, that doesn't leave much time, focus, or attention to be able to do it at the level that they perform within their businesses. So that's where we come in, because we have a CPA firm and a wealth management firm and an entire ecosystem of outside attorneys and other advisors that can help them deal with the things that, maybe their current advisors or CPAs aren't really proficient at dealing with. So we can coordinate it, and we help them even on a full, to handle everything through a fractional family office or on an a la carte basis, whatever they need to help them make sure that they're protecting and growing their wealth.
And I love it that it's all under one roof, one-stop shopping. You're not trying to manage different vendors, so congratulations on that. We're going to scroll down your website, and as we scroll down the website, talk a little bit about your history. You're the co-founder. How old is Echelon?
Yeah, it's 11 years old this year. So my business partner, Jim Moreno, who's a CPA, and I started talking in probably 2011. We shared a client who we were working with, and we, the conversations just kept going. We had rapport. We were definitely on the same page and shared the same philosophy. And so one thing led to another, and we started the firm of Echelon Financial. We also have Osborne, Moreno, Getson CPAs as a CPA firm, because clients need things like attestations and compilations that only a CPA firm can do. So we have both the CPA firm and the wealth management firm.
Yes, and I think you have the heart of a teacher, because I was on your social media and found a bunch of videos that just really explained the process. I found one that I really like. Let's go ahead and roll that.
I love the old adage that a smart person learns from their mistakes and a wise person learns from the mistakes of others. And today I'm going to share a mistake that could have cost one of our clients his business, and it did cost his partner's family almost $2 million in unnecessary taxes. I haven't met you yet. I'm Chris Wilbratte, and I'm a partner at Echelon Financial and Osborne, Moreno, Getson CPAs. And our team can only work with a select number of business owners and entrepreneurs. So we created this channel to help a lot more people. See, when someone starts a business, they're managing so many competing priorities that some important priorities can slip through the cracks. Mike and Jack were clients who'd grown their business into a serious enterprise over 15 years. Jack called us one day, and we could tell immediately that something was wrong. He was in shock because Mike, his business partner, had suddenly passed away, and it was completely unexpected. Mike was only 50 years old. Just a few weeks ago, they'd been celebrating a series of new deals that were going to grow their business by over 20%. Now, he couldn't think past the next minute. As the shock wore off, he was experiencing a lot of emotions, from being worried about Mike's wife Debbie and their children to worrying about how this was going to impact the business. He was overwhelmed. The reason Jack called us is because we're a CPA firm, and we had a very close relationship with he and Mike. He didn't know what to do next and was looking for direction. We had another client who lost a business partner, so we knew what to ask to help him think through the situation. What we learned is that Mike and Jack had a basic business operating agreement, but they had not set up a buy-sell agreement, and they didn't have a funding mechanism in place so he would have the capital to buy out Debbie. She was now his business partner, and she didn't have to sell. And if she wanted to, she could have a significant say over the business. We helped him think through an action plan that included calling his banker and his attorney to get their input and recommendations. Jack reported that Debbie had to be a signer on the debt for the new deals because she was now a 50% owner of the firm. Debbie had never been involved in the business. Jack said she let Mike handle everything related to business and money. Jack started thinking out loud. What if she wanted to take over Mike's role with no experience or knowledge of the market? The gravity of the situation started to sink in. What if, what if, what if? So many questions with no easy answers. It was a lot to process, and he was feeling overwhelmed. Jack knew he had to talk to Debbie about the business, but she was grieving, in shock, and caring for her children. He wanted to be respectful of her situation, but there were a lot of deadlines coming up in the business. They had an important credit renewal coming up, as well as some mezzanine debt that had to be signed off in order to take on the new deals they had signed. He reached out to her and scheduled a call after the funeral, and that week felt like a year. See, when you have a buy-sell agreement in place, you have a clearly defined process that everyone has agreed to in advance.
Chris, you're a great storyteller, so I'm on the edge of my seat. How did it turn out?
Well, they ended up working it out. Debbie really did not want to be a partner in the business. She just wanted to be paid for her deceased spouse's interest in the business, and they were able to work it out in a way that worked for both of them. So she was able to get her payout, and then they were able to continue on operating the business, get the deals done. But it was a very stressful process. It took a lot more time than it could have, and in the end, it cost Debbie quite a bit of money in income taxes that she would not have had to pay at that time had they used some funding mechanisms like life insurance. So it worked out well for everybody, but it could have been a lot easier and a lot better.
Yeah, it occurs to me, Chris, that you often are put in a position of being a therapist almost, in addition to being, a financial guru. You've got to hold your client's hand through some difficult times.
Yeah, so he was in a very tough situation, high stress. Had lost a friend and a business partner, and so sometimes we can play that role and help them kind of think through things, kind of zoom out, and then start thinking through the objectives that need to happen in order to get everybody what they wanted. And the key there, though, in my mind, is that we just see so much because we have so many clients who are business owners, that we are often on the short list for our clients to call when they are facing an opportunity or a challenge, and how to think it through, or potentially to connect them to someone who can help them through that situation. We just had a client who sold his business and hadn't even considered it. A strategic buyer came along, and he didn't know who to speak with. So we were able to connect him with some deal attorneys and some investment bankers who helped him navigate that situation to maximize the purchase price for his business.
And I think the timing of our interview right now is so important because we're about to see Trump go back to the White House. We don't know exactly what his tax policy will be, but your clients really need to stay on top of it, don't they?
Yes, they do. And with each administration, there's obviously going to be some change. I can't predict what's going to change in tax policy, but whatever it is, we advise our clients on tax strategy. And what makes us unique in that area is that we have a process that we take them through to help them identify all the legal tax strategies to which they're entitled, do a cost-benefit analysis to see which ones make the most sense, because they don't want to jump through hoops for a few $100s, and finally to implement those strategies in the right way to make sure that they never have to look back over their shoulder.
Wow. Chris, I know why you're so successful, so we're almost out of time. Final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
Well, just, the difference between the needs of, say, W-2 employees and business owners. W-2 employees, they have great situations, but there's really very few tax planning opportunities for them right now in the current tax code, whereas business owners have many, many different options for them and that are available to them to save on taxes. When it comes to estate planning, the buy-sell agreement is an example of something that business owners need for their business as part of their estate plan, whereas W-2 employees would not. Another is in terms of, asset protection. Business owners, typically that's their biggest assets. They want to make sure they protect it. So if they were to get sued, they want to make sure that there's mechanisms in place to protect it. Whereas, W-2 employees, they don't have to worry about that. So those are just a few of the examples of the differences where, why a business owner would want to be working with a firm that is focused on their needs and deals with those sort of issues on a daily basis to make sure that everything's optimized so they can focus on their family and growing their business.
Outstanding. Chris, you've been an amazing guest. We're going to have you back again soon. We're going to end with his website, which is echelonfinancial.com, the great Chris Wilbratte. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.